everybody, Cinephile Mike here. Today I am joined by writer and director David Drake to discuss his feature film, The Long Haul, which is screening at the Tribeca Festival. The film follows CJ, a veteran long haul truck driver portrayed by Margo Martindale, who spent years keeping her past at arm's length. But when a letter arrives, she's forced to confront long buried truths and finds herself facing a future she can no longer outrun. Featuring an outstanding ensemble cast, The Long Haul is a quiet, powerful drama about memory, regret, and the courage required to move forward. David, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Mike. And I love hearing the way you've described the movie. That's a movie I'd like to see. Yeah.
So you've built a career as a photographer before making your directing debut feature film. Were there lessons that you learned from still photography that helped how you shaped the visual storytelling for the long haul?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I worked as a photographer in all different respects. Like I started as a wedding photographer. I did some newspaper photography, and then I got into music photography, did a lot of album. I did hundreds of album covers over the years. So I did a lot of like set-based photography. Um, and yeah, I mean, like my references are very still photography heavy. Like some of my favorite photographers, Lee Friedkin, and Stephen Shore, that whole sort of new topographics movement. I was referencing that pretty heavily early on. When I was writing the script, I was sort of thinking visually like, oh, I really want to shoot it like this and that. And yeah, I mean, it was always present. Like I just images in my that I'd seen in photo books years ago just pop into my head, and like I want to shoot something like that. And absolutely, it was a huge part of the process.
Now, CJ's profession feels inseparable from the story itself, and I'm curious, what was it about a long haul truck driver that made like that was the occupation, that was the right lens to explore this character in this story?
I mean, when I enter the writing process, it's often through, I often find a world I want to immerse in first, and then I kind of discover a character that lives in that world. So, my father was in the process of retiring from his job, which for 30 years was driving a route. He started as he had a box truck out of the Hunts Point Market in the Bronx and would deliver to restaurants, and then he eventually sort of drove a van. But I used to work with him down there, and for anybody who's been to the Hunts Point Market in the Bronx, there's like 15,000 trucks coming and going every day, like long haul trucks, and it's the biggest food distribution center in the world. So it's pretty wild. And when you're a kid and impressionable and you like trucks and you go with your dad to work, that kind of made a lasting impression on me. And then I worked with him as in my teens and met a lot of the people that he worked with. So I always wanted to pull from that world and write something set in that world. And because my dad was heading into retirement at the time, I wanted to make a character that was facing similar prospects. And that's kind of how the character and the world were born.
And as you were revisiting this, I mean, I have to say the landscapes and the stretches of highway are beautiful, but they also really reinforce that sense of isolation that CJ's living in. What were the conversations like with your cinematographer, Mika Altskan, to use that environment to reflect that internal conflict?
I mean, we spoke a lot about westerns, and sort of cowboys, sort of on like a cattle drive or whatever, going out into these vast landscapes and kind of modernizing it in a way, sort of in the modern world with trucks and highways, but these sort of like very isolating sort of stretches of road that long haul truckers find themselves on, and they're on these long individual journeys through these landscapes. So and I weirdly I also spoke to him, and my producers about this idea of like whales and sonar and kind of going through the sea and kind of being on their own. And and there were these images that I kept sort of talking about with Mika, um, about the isolation. And he's so like well versed, and he's a total cinephile, just seen everything. So when we were talking about like road movies and all that, he just had seen everything. And we would live together during prep, and we just
Ah,
watched movies every night. We were watching movie. And Yeah, and he's also just knows photography in and out, and he knows all the photographers I was referencing. So that's kind of how we built that world. A lot of westerns and stuff.
That's my life every night, just sitting and watching movies and movies
Yeah,
and movies.
I mean, it's the life, man. I'm telling you, I love doing that too.
So CJ often communicates more in this film through silence than in the dialogue, and maybe it's the whole the cowboy, image you were talking about. But as you and Margo Martindale were developing this character, how did you determine what really needed to be spoken versus what could just be performed?
Yeah, I mean, Margot is so expressive, with her face. And that's one of the things that drew me to her. And there was a short film she did with Alexander Payne as part of Paris Je t'aime, which is that compilation of short films.
Yep, seen it.
And she did this short film with him, and it was basically a silent film. It was this American woman going through
Hmm.
Paris, not speaking too much French, but trying to. And it's very physical and it's all on her face. Her expression changes, and I was floored by it when I saw it. So when I wanted to cast her because of that, I just thought it was amazing and how much she was able to communicate without words. And it was all inbuilt. Like I just knew Margot was the person for that. Like she could just do it. So, um, yeah, I mean, she just embodied the character, and I don't know how she does it really. Like it's in her head. She's just got that ability, and it kind of floored me watching it. Seeing her on the monitor just do the thing that I had written. And bringing so much more to it as well. She's just extremely capable and talented and really reads into the material and figures it out and internalizes it.
And so now that you've put the film together and it's on its way out there into the ether, I'm curious. I love to ask this question when I have my chance to speak with filmmakers. So I'm a big believer in sharing knowledge. Maybe it's because of my background as a teacher. But as you continue making films and plan to go on from what's next after the long haul, what would you say is something you learned either prior to this film or on this film that you look forward to carrying with you as a best practice into your future work, and maybe one learning curve you might try to avoid next time?
Ooh, that's a good one. So many lessons that I learned on set. I mean, it sounds silly, but I think taking care of yourself on set, because it's such a marathon. And, you need to get sleep, you need to eat well, and it's just a boring thing to say, but I think that is something that I learned. Like early on, I was like hitting that craft table, and I was not doing well physically,
Oh
because I
yeah.
was not eating well. But I think also just like I would say just having I guess I was trying to over act a little too sort of comfortable at the beginning. I mean, I was trying to not show any vulnerability at first because I was the baby director on set. I had my first movie, and I thought, oh, I have to act like I've been here before, and that's part of it too that I think I learned. It's like once I started realizing I don't have to show that I know everything and that I'm 100% comfortable all the time, then I feel like things got into a bit more of a flow. When I was trying to, you know, felt like I had been there before and
Mhm.
this is no problem. That's when I was struggling at the very start. And I think that was sort of like my growing pains. And my producers and the cast really helped me along with that. And my crew too. I mean, they were just so experienced. I was the least experienced person on set. So I think once I sort of figured that out, things worked out a little bit better for me and dropped the ego and kind of allow people to show you how to do things sometimes and you don't always have the answers.
Beautifully said. And one last question, because I know I have to let you go in a couple minutes. When audiences are leaving the long haul, what is something you hope stays with them, either emotionally, intellectually, or just a feeling they take afterwards?
That's good. I mean, I like to write things that leave people feeling what I hope. is that it's a mixture of emotions that doesn't necessarily have a word. Like it's easy to say it's a happy movie, it's a sad movie, it's a funny movie, but my hope is it's more like there's like a mixture of these different things, and I really like it if it makes them feel a little sort of sweet and sour, or a little bit of a mixture of things, like bittersweet, I guess. And I like those sort of like crossover emotions that like layer different feelings on top of each other. And I think that's what communicating through film or through books or music is all about. It's like creating those little spaces in between emotions and trying to leave people with that sort of aftertaste. So that's what I hope, I guess.
Well, it's a visually stunning, beautiful movie. You can feel the heart in it. And David, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to chat with me about it today. Congratulations on the premiere at Tribeca, and I wish you all the best with the film and whatever comes next.
Oh, thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
Yeah. And for everyone watching, if you enjoyed this conversation, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow along for more filmmaker interviews like this, festival coverage, award season conversations. If you want to check out The Long Haul, we will make sure to put the information for the film and the link so that you can buy your tickets in the description notes below. But until then, this is Cinephile Mike reminding you to take a break and watch something new. David, have a great day.
You too, Mike.